Welcome to Creative Brews. I'm Kristen, and this is your weekly dose of creativity, where photography, design, and life come together. So, grab your favorite drink, and let's talk about what's brewing. Good morning! Hope everybody is having a great week and a great last week whenever you are listening or watching. So we're going to go ahead and get right on into the video or into the episode. When I say video, I mean episode. And I'm so sorry. It's out of habit to say video, but I really mean episode. So yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and dive right on in this morning. I've got coffee. It's in my mom daily routine mug, so that's exciting. So yeah, we're gonna get right on into the video or into the episode. Jeez. Okay, so today's episode is a bit different because it is brought to you by and sponsored by AI. Ooh, I'm just kidding about the sponsorship, by the way. I'm not sponsored or anything like that. This is actually my first time using AI. And the AI that I'll be using today is ChatGPT. Everybody's familiar. I think everybody's familiar with AI. I would love to know what everybody listening or watching, what your stance is as far as AI goes. How do you feel about it? Do you love it? And if you do love it, why? Also, if you hate it, why? I think this is something that intrigues me, which is why I wanted to do this episode. I also want to do it with Patrick on as well, because today, this episode has been thought of, or well, that's why I said brought to you by AI, because this is not something that I sat down and wrote out myself. And I'm going to record my screen on my phone so that way I can have it up on the video, or yeah, in the video while I'm reading. So, yes. And so that way you can see the prompt that I asked. I basically asked ChatGPT. I did not tell AI that I have a podcast and what my name is and what I usually do and blah, blah, blah. Because I wanted to see what it would come up with. Like, is it close to something that I would normally do or something like that? So, yeah, it's very interesting. I'm going to turn my screen auto lock or the auto lock off so that way I don't have to worry about touching my screen. Let's see here. I think it's display. Maybe? Yeah. Okay, so I only told it the podcast name is Creative Brews, and as you can see on the screen, you'll be able to read as well. I said podcast name is Creative Brews. Can you come up with a whole new 20-minute episode for this podcast? I didn't, help it by giving any kind of ideas or anything like that. Okay, so it says absolutely. Here's a complete 20-minute podcast episode idea for Creative Brews tailored to your design focused audience. This script includes the episode title, the intro, main segments, questions, transitions, and outro. You can record it solo or with a guest or co host, depending on your format. As you can tell on the screen, it came up with the episode title, which is The Power of Pause, Why Creative Breaks Spark Better Design, which is kind of funny because I've already done that, basically. So I don't really know how AI comes up with these ideas. Like, I know it skims the internet for you and stuff like that, and it comes up with ideas and things. I guess, okay, so before we get into it, I guess my stance on AI is that I'm not totally okay with it. I don't totally hate it either, if that makes any sense. Okay, sorry, I had to go get my cat. Like I said before, my cat is extra. So I guess my stance on AI and how I feel about it is that I don't really know how to feel about it, I guess, is what I'm saying. Like, I'm 50-50 on it. I don't think people in society should be able to use AI for however or whatever they want, because that's scary. Not everybody is a good person. They don't have good intentions. They want to see things burn down. They want to see people hurt and stuff like that. So I'm not trying to take this video to a dark place or this video is basically, or this episode is basically it's just for fun, to be honest. Like, I was just wanting to see like what AI would come up with. Like I said, it's my first time using it, especially for something that I do anyway, if that makes any sense. So yeah, this is just kind of like an experiment to see, so. Okay, so back to what it came up with. It gave an intro. So it says intro is 1 to 2 minutes. It says, "Hey there, and welcome back to Creative Brews, the podcast where great design meets real talk. I'm Kristen, and today we're diving into something that's often overlooked but absolutely essential. The power of taking a break. That's right. In a world obsessed with hustle, we're slowing it down and showing you why that's not just okay, it's necessary for better creative work." That's crazy. Like, if you're seeing everything on the screen, it's crazy. Because it gives you a segment 1. It says why we feel guilty for taking breaks. That's 3 to 4 minutes long. It gives some bullet points and it gives a sample line. And then segment 2, the science of the pause. It's about 5 minutes long. Again, some bullet points, an optional quote that you can use. Segment 3, creative breaks that actually work, bullet points, a prompt for your audience. Segment 4, how to schedule breaks without guilt, about 3 minutes long. Looks like it gives you some bullet points, a tip, and a sample line. And then it gives you your outro, which is a recap, a call to action, and it also gives you an outro. It says, "Thanks for brewing up some time with me today. Remember, creativity is a cycle, not a sprint. So give yourself permission to pause, refill your cup, and get ready to make magic. Until next time, keep creating with purpose." I'm sorry, this is just funny because this is not how I would normally talk. I think you can really tell when somebody is using AI, especially in a podcast or video or just like writing in general. You can really tell if someone has used AI because and didn't personalize it. Now, if you're going and you're using AI and you're going the extra step of going through everything and personalizing it, I don't know, that's just kind of crazy. Like, where did the work come in? And I know somebody out there is going to say, yeah, well, you're having to ask it and tailor it to, what you're looking for and stuff like that. And I know people before AI, people was, using Google, Yahoo, whatever your search engine is, Chrome, and they were doing it that way. But I don't know, I still think whether you do it the old school way or you're using I think it's just crazy, and it kind of takes out the character. Like, it takes out your personality. You become basically a robot, So AI, like I said, it's a tool. It's there. I know people nowadays have gotten as far as, I know we already have been using AI. I'm not going to say their names because one is on my phone and one is sitting over there in the corner. One starts with an A and one starts with an S, and we've all been using AI already. So, like, AI is only getting, what would you call it? I guess more and more robust. And I know there's a whole conspiracy around AI. And this is just like using ChatGPT. There's also, what was the one for artists? Mid Journey or something like that. I know people use that. Like we mentioned in the last video, which you should totally go, or the last episode. I keep saying video. I gotta get that out of my head. Recently, I've been saying video instead of episode. But in the last episode, if you tuned in, we talked about how we go to these conventions, which is something that Patrick, I wanted to go to a couple conventions here and there in the past, but I never did just because it just never happened. But we've been to a couple conventions and we've seen some artwork, and you can tell what somebody has actually produced versus like AI has produced. I would say, like, my stance on that is if you're using AI, like Mid Journey, for conceptual artwork where you're trying to get your creative juices flowing and stuff like that, that's one thing. But if you're totally, like, using it and then, like, going through the whole process of actually printing it on something and trying to say that it's something that you came up with And just because you print it on a canvas and then you go and you slap some paint on it doesn't mean that you came up with that. Okay? It's the same thing with writing. Like, I've heard people like uploading their papers and stuff like that to ChatGPT or wherever, and ChatGPT is completely like rewriting it. I mean, I'm talking about even CEOs, business owners, and stuff like that. I've seen various business owners. I'm not going to name the business or the people, but I've seen them now use ChatGPT over sitting down, brainstorming, writing out some ideas, coming up with a rough draft, editing it, getting people to look it over, and refining it. Instead, they're just using AI. Like, I guess it's just because it's gotten so easy now. Like, I literally have a whole episode right here, and it's crazy. Like, I even asked it because at the end, it'll say something like, let me know if you want to make this into a social media post or whatever. Because that's what it said here. It says, let me know if you'd like me to write this out as a full word-to-word transcript, or help you turn this into a blog post or social media teaser. And I said, yes, can you write out a transcript? It says, absolutely. Here's a full word-to-word transcript for the Creative Brews episode titled The Power of Pause, Why Creative Breaks Spark Better Design. It says, this is written in a natural, conversational tone to match a solo host format. Feel free to tweak or fit your voice or recording style. So, again, real quick, I'm going to kind of read through this. I don't know that I'll read the whole thing because then that's basically me making a whole episode. But I just want people to see, like, how, like, crazy. And, I don't know. Like I said, this was an experiment. And I figured it would work out. But yeah, so anyways. So we're going to act like this is a brand new episode. And plus, too, I don't know if I have enough time to go through this whole thing. We'll see. It's 11:30 in the morning, so let me take a sip of my coffee. Okay. Hey, welcome back to Creative Brews, the podcast where great design meets real talk. I'm Kristen, and whether you're tuning in from your studio, your car, or maybe on a walk with your favorite coffee in hand, I'm glad you're here. Today, we're doing something a little different. You can say that again. We're hitting pause. Yep, in a world that's all gas pedal and no brakes, I want to make a case for slowing down. Actually, I want to make the case that breaks, intentional, creative breaks, might be the best thing you can do for your design work, your business, and your peace of mind. I don't disagree with everything that it's saying, by the way. But I do find it funny because I literally, number one, I think I talked about like your energy account or your energy bank account. And in that video or in that episode, I spoke about, why taking breaks or how to work on your energy levels and stuff like that. Which I didn't think was going to be a hit, but it actually ended up being a pretty good subject. I think a lot of people can like really connect with that, and I think it really resonates with a good majority of society. And then, literally, in the last episode with Patrick, we spoke about creative breaks and burnout. So, So, if you've been burning the candle at both ends or feeling creatively stuck, this episode is for you. Let's talk about the power of the pause. I wouldn't have said the power of the pause. That's a lot of thes going on, isn't it? And then it says intro music fades out. So this is the transcript that it came up with. Segment 1, remember from earlier, why we feel guilty for taking breaks. So first off, let's name it. A lot of us feel straight up guilty when we take breaks. When we take time off, sorry. Hopefully you're not hearing the outside noise, but my cat loves looking outside. So yeah, hopefully if you're hearing any kind of like birds or anything like that, I didn't edit that in. It's actually coming in from the back door because I'm in the kitchen. We live in a culture that praises hustle, glorifies late nights, and turns burnout into a badge of honor, especially in creative work. If you're a designer, illustrator, photographer, there's this invisible pressure to always be producing, posting, showing up, shipping something new. And hey, I've been there. There was a stretch of time where I prided myself on never taking a day off. I'd go days without seeing the sun, just grinding away on design projects, trying to prove something to clients, Instagram, honestly, maybe myself. But here's the truth. I wasn't doing my best work. I was just doing more work, and there's a big difference. Segment 2, the science of the pause. So, yeah, you can really see that, I don't know, it's just crazy. I mean, do you guys want me to go through this whole thing? I can't really get a live, like, yeah, go ahead and go through the whole thing. I guess we'll go through the whole thing. I can always edit it out later if I don't want to, but now here's where it gets interesting. When you take a break, even a short one, your brain doesn't just turn off. It switches modes. Neuroscientists call it the default mode network. It's the part of your brain that lights up when you're daydreaming, walking, or just letting your thoughts wander. This is when ideas connect. This is when insights happen. Ever notice how your best ideas come in the shower, or when you're driving, or right before you fall asleep? That's not an accident. That's your creative brain doing background magic, and it needs space to do that. Some of the most brilliant thinkers in history knew this instinctively. Einstein took naps every day. Steve Jobs was known for his long walking meetings. Maya Angelou used to write in hotel rooms away from distractions, not to force creativity, but to allow it. Breaks aren't just good for you, they're essential to how creativity actually works. What's funny is, this is a very well thought out It's just not my style. Like, I would never use AI to come up with a whole transcript and just totally like rip it off. Um, but I mean, I do agree with a lot of what it's saying. Like, it is very essential to take breaks. As I have said in a few episodes before this one, I've actually already done a podcast very similar to this. And what I do is something similar to what AI is doing. And I kind of do it because it's kind of like, it kind of helps me think. Like, it's my thinking process and stuff like that. Like, if you ever had schoolwork or if you're working in a very corporate environment, you learn a lot from like going to meetings and stuff like that. And see, where I used to work, I was all the time in meetings. Sometimes my whole day would be meetings, and then I still have to get production work done. So I learned a lot from that. And so I kind of carry it into my daily life. And basically, what I would do is come up with, okay, I've got this podcast called Creative Brews. I've got three main subjects, which are the three main subjects. It was important for me to come up with something very broad, like design, life, and what's the third one? Where design, life, photography. So those three main subjects are very broad. You can either come up with a podcast that just has a very broad subject and you can talk a lot about it, or you can break it up like I did. I didn't really want to at first I was just wanting to come up with a podcast, but I couldn't even come up with a name. And it took me probably about a year or so, and I really was like, I'm not going to do a podcast. I don't want to do that. Like, I mean, I do want to do it because I like talking and connecting and, building a community, hopefully, and stuff like that. But I didn't know what I would talk about. I didn't know what the podcast would be even named and stuff like that. So I really thought about it and basically it took the year. And in different parts of the year, I thought about it even more, and eventually it all came to me, so I was like, oh, well, actually it'd be fun to do, Creative Brews, and that's how that came about. So we've got segment 3, 4, and then the outro. So, I'm sure you're dying to know what segment 3 is. We've come this far, we might as well go ahead and read through it, right? Segment 3, creative breaks that actually work. Okay, so what does a real creative break look like? Because let's be honest, sometimes a break turns into 3 hours of scrolling TikTok and somehow learning about Viking cookware, or is that just me? Sorry. I'm trying to read it too. I'm trying to read this transcript. Also, like how I definitely wouldn't talk, So to go with the tone of voice here. So here are a few intentional breaks that actually help recharge your creative brain. Number 1, the 20-20-20 rule. Every 20 minutes, look at something 20 feet away for 20 seconds. It's great for your eyes and gives your brain a mini reset. I actually kind of do that. I don't really do it for 20 seconds. Sometimes when I'm getting real frustrated with something and it's just not working and all that, I will take, like, if it's bad enough, I'll take a day break. And then I'll come back tomorrow and be like, oh, why didn't I do XYZ, you know? Number 2, micro sabbaticals. This is one of my favorites. Once a month, take a weekend off from all creative work. No designing, no branding, no business plotting. Just let yourself be. Ready, cook, sleep, wander. Number 3, nature resets. Get outside. A 10-minute walk can clear creative fog like nothing else. Research shows nature literally changes your brain waves. And actually, I do know that is a true fact. Number 4, active rest. This one's for my fidgeters. Sketch, journal, do something creative with zero pressure to make it good. Think of it as a sandbox, not a portfolio. Try one, try them all. The point is, create a rhythm of rest, not just when you're desperate, but as a normal part of your workflow. And hey, if you've got a break ritual that works for you, I'd love to hear it. DM me on Instagram at kbcreativnc or tag me in a story. I might feature your tip in a future episode. Actually, that is interesting. So, if you do have like your own way of, say, look, I'm already AI has caught me. I'm just kidding. But yeah, no, let me know how do you take, and I think I even said this in the last episode, like, what are some of your processes or some of the ways that you take a break are around burnout, creative blocks, or, hobbies and interests. That was the last episode, was hobbies and interests, burnout, and creative blocks. Okay, segment 4, how to schedule breaks without guilt. Now let's talk logistics. How do you actually make space for breaks when deadlines are real and the work never ends? Here's the trick. Put them on your calendar like you would a client meeting. Name them, block them, honor them. Call it creative downtime or CEO hour or mental reset. Whatever makes you take it seriously. You can also build breaks into your workday. Try a I don't even know how to say this word. Pomodoro timer? I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen that word. 25 minutes on, 5 minutes off. You'll get more done with fewer headaches. Remember, reset isn't the reward. It's part of the process. It's not laziness, it's leverage. Okay, so here's the outro that it has. All right, friend, let's wrap this up. Here's your reminder. Taking a break doesn't make you lazy, it makes you human, and it makes you a better creative. So, give yourself permission to pause, to breathe, to step away, and let ideas find you for once. You don't need to earn rest, you just need to value it. if this episode hit home for you, do me a solid and leave a quick review or share it with one creative friend who might need to hear this today. You never know who's one permission slip away from burnout recovery. And hey, next week I'm diving into something messy and beautiful: ugly first drafts. Why you should love them and how to use them and why perfection is overrated. You won't want to miss it. Until then, keep creating with purpose and don't forget to pause. And then it says outro music fades in. You've been listening to Creative Brews. I'm Kristen. Stay creative, stay curious, and I'll catch you next time. And then it says outro music fades out. And then it asks, let me know if you'd like this turned into a downloadable PDF or if you want help recording an intro and outro clip. Wow. So, what do y'all think about that? We literally went through a whole episode that I've basically already done, which I thought was funny. Definitely the tone of voice is not how I normally talk, personally. I do try to sound educated, obviously. And if it's something like, if the subject interests me and I don't really know that much about it, I will research about it. And I'll take like screenshots of things to include in the episode or to speak on or something like that. But yeah, I don't know. I find this crazy, interesting, and yeah, I mean, how do you feel about it? If you found this interesting, share it. Always remember to like, subscribe, and all of that. But I think that about wraps up everything. I do agree with a lot of the points that were made in AI's podcast episode today. It's definitely very important to take breaks. Honestly, like I said, you can't always be going and going and going and going. In my last episode or episode before that or something. But yeah, I guess I'm going to go ahead and go. This episode's probably going to be a little long just because it was 20 minutes for that. And then, of course, I always, talk about various different things and stuff like that. But yeah, thank you for tuning in and being here and watching and supporting and listening. I truly appreciate it. This journey has been very different this time. Like, I don't know, it's just crazy. I've been very in tune with myself, especially as a new mom and stuff like that, and just really doing what I feel is right instead of pleasing someone or, pleasing a business or whatever the case is. Because usually I'm someone who puts everyone else first and then I think about myself. 9 times out of 10, I don't ever really think about myself, which is what I've done a lot in the past. I've put a lot of people before me. I've put someone else's business before me and before my life. And guess what? That's not it. And especially being a new mom, you definitely tolerate a hell of a lot less than you would if, or if you're really doing the work on yourself and you're healing yourself and you're just really tuning into yourself. It's a different journey, and it is amazing. And I hope it continues. It is going to continue. And yeah, I mean, that's all I can say. I'm, like I said, taking more time on myself because I am a new mom and I don't, I want to heal myself and be the best version I can be for my son. And so that way he can learn the tools and skills and all of that. And I can give him everything I know so that way he has that in his toolbox. And of course, it's not just me. His dad is, obviously here, my significant other. I mean, this is just coming from my point of view. But he has two amazing parents, and he's going to, know how to do various different things. But yeah, so before I get off onto a different subject, I will see you all in my next episode. And yeah, I'm excited. We'll see where it goes. And in the meantime, I'm going to be drinking my coffee and get this uploaded. So I will see you in the next one. Bye.